Right. Last week we had high drama near the end of the Grand Prix. Let's hope that this time we can get even more drama. Welcome along to Breakout Racing League Formula 2 here at Spain. Round 4 of this 24 long championship. Uh, Last race we had quite an interesting affair where the two championship leaders, BRL Neymar and Unsighted Port, crashed on the penultimate lap, giving Taylor a surprise win in the feature race. But it was all Uni Virtuosi the ones to take down in that Grand Prix. Will we get a repeat? We'll find out. Spain, 16 corners, and well, you got high speed, low speed, and medium speed corners. So it's so this track's pretty much almost got everything, especially a long right-hander of turn 3. We are now starting qualifying as the cars were just starting to put on their setups. We are going to go on board with Neymar, who I believe has 2 pole positions. I'm not entirely sure. Do not quote me on that. It could be Port, though. But it's going to be interesting, because we have Neymar and Port, the championship leaders, and you also have the likes of Taylor. Who knows what could happen? Any one of these guys could take a possible win. And also we have some new people as well, such as Deer Hunter, Hoopalicious, and Days Freak. Those 3 didn't show up last week. They're here this week, and they're ready to show what they are made of today. As now they are going through the second sector for the time being. I think everyone, for the most part, keeping it valid. Deer Hunter, currently provisional pole for the time being, but Port is right behind. Taylor Clan retires, so I think his lap invalidated. But now the pole position is in between Deer and Port. Who's going to get it? Neymar, though, sitting pretty in P3. Maybe he could get something out of it. We're going to stay on board with the Dams driver of Deer Hunter, going through the final chicane. Keeps it nice and easy. Doesn't go too wide. Goes around the final corner. Opens the DRS. Does he get pole position? Looks like Port gets it by over a tenth, a 127.1. So that is Port getting another pole position ahead of Deer Hunter. That is 4 points once again to the Uni Virtuosi driver. Unlike last week, it's not a Uni Virtuosi 1-2. Instead, it's a Virtuosi 1-9, since Taylor was not able to set a lap. Port gets pole position ahead of Deer Hunter by just over a tenth. Ferrari Nut settling in P3. Then it's Hoopalicious in P4 ahead of BRL Neymar. Neymar not having the best of qualifying, as he is 7/10 off his championship rival. Days Freak sitting in P6 ahead of KP21. Then comes the Bees and Taylor, both didn't set a lap time. And now we are going to move on to the feature race, in which there are 2 races, let's not forget. As Heatwave joins the session, I believe, I'm not sure if he'll be able to make it for the feature, but he'll be here for the sprint. Bit cloudy skies here in the feature race. We'll see if some rain pops up, but for now it is all dry. We'll see how this pans out. I believe they have a total of 19 laps in the feature race. They have to make a mandatory pit stop in this Grand Prix, and they only have 2 tire choices, in which everyone is going for the soft, and then they will go on to the medium. For the time being, though, that could switch up. Maybe we could see the likes of Neymar going long. We shall find out, but I think everybody's going to stick with the softs for now. So that is very interesting. No one opting for the medium compound. We'll double check that again, and that is the truth. Everyone sticking it out for the softs, so they're going to see what happens in this Grand Prix. 19 laps, like I said. As Port is on pole position. Deer Hunter got second in, I believe, his second or third round of the championship. I don't entirely remember. Ferrari Nut settling in P3. He had a decent time last time in Portimao. If you guys missed that, be sure to check it out, either on Twitch or on Breakout Racing League's YouTube channel. But as they are now forming on the grid, let's go through the championship standings. Unsighted Port leads BRL Neymar by 12 points due to him getting a double podium in Portimao. Wasn't a double win though, as his teammate Taylor Clan, starting last this week, then took that win away from him. Like I said, Neymar in P2, Taylor Clan in P3, quite a distant third place, 16 points behind, I believe, yeah, 16 points behind Port. Then comes Ferrari Nut, who's had quite a few runs of P4s, only one P8 and one DNS. So keeping the consistency is Ferrari Nut. He's in P3. Let's see if he can get a podium for the first time. That's the Beast ahead of Deer Hunter, DRC Jared, Astra getting some decent haul of points in Portimao, settling in P8. That's Rattly Whisper, and then Yeet Doggo rounding out the top 10. Will we see some big changes here? Well, we'll find out as they are now forming up on the grid. Just giving a bit of silence before the chaos, as I usually say, as Taylor is the last one to line up on his grid slot. See if I can get a good camera angle here. If the 5 red lights are going to come up. Bit of a long wait. There we go. There's the 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. And lights out, and away we go for the Spanish Grand Prix. Port box down, and Deer Hunter has got an amazing start. He's already up to P1. Port is already falling down the grid as a huge swap of cars. Hoop is already in the wall. I think he has damage already, so that's not a good start for the Trident as he gets caught up with the Prema and spins. So that is not a good start for Hoopalicious, as he's already down quite a bit and has to pit. But Deer Hunter ahead of Freuna. Then comes inside of Port. Neymar, Taylor Clan. Taylor looking for a bit of a move on Taylor, but it's just a little bit too far back. Then Days Freak ahead of KP21. Then DeBees not getting the best of starts ahead of Hoopalicious. I think KP21 made a mistake there and almost hits the wall. And now Bryna's actually overtaken Deer. They're going wheel to wheel into turn 7 to turn 8. Does Ferrari not get the position? Deer Hunter sticks his nose in, but Ferrari not gets the position. Here comes Port, though. Doesn't quite make the move into turn 9, though. Everyone so far keeping it clean despite Hoop's bad start. But now it's Ferrari ahead of Deer. Port with a bad start at the start of the race. He's hitting in P3. Then comes Neymar, who I believe made up 1 position. Taylor Clan already moving up 4 positions, actually, for the back of the grid to P5. So great start for him, as the top 5 are already going way ahead of P6 the Days Freak, as they're now coming around the final corner to finish the first lap. Ferrari once again ahead of Deer. It's already a DRS train, and we don't even have DRS. But Port's actually looking for a move on Deer. Tries to go around the outside, gets a bit close. Port just settling in behind for the time being. Deer goes a little bit wide, though. Is Port going to try and go for the switchback? Doesn't have the traction compared to Deer. And he just stays in P3, but right behind him, BRL Neymar, his championship rival. He wants to get ahead of Port. He wants to make up the deficit. And he is just right on the back of the UNI Virtuosi driver. As it's a bit of a train, like I said. Ferrari not leading it. Actually starting to pull away from Deer Hunter. I think Deer Hunter doesn't exactly have the pace compared to Ferrari Nut, as Port is just right on the back of him right now. Actually, he might go for a move here into turn 10, round the outside. brakes a little bit late. Deer Hunter brakes the same amount. There's a little bit of contact. Deer Hunter squeezes Port out, keeps P2, as Port gets a little bit squirrely on the exit, but keeps it okay for the time being. Already a 1.2 second gap to Deer Hunter does Ferrari Nut. He wants to get a win. He doesn't have a podium yet, and yet he's gonna go for this. He's just absolutely going for this Grand Prix, like for the win. I mean, as he sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. No surprise there. Port still on the back of Deer Hunter. Bit of a switch near the back. KP2-1 and Days Free going wheel to wheel on the main straight. As these cars, remember, they are basically the same car, so it's a matter of who's the bravest. So far, Days Freak, the bravest out of the two, as he gets P7 ahead of the Trident, the KP2-1. So, yeah, everyone now just starting to settle into a rhythm. First 2 laps are done. KP2-1, though, already looking for a bit of a look into turn 5, going wheel to wheel. KP2-1 on the inside. Days Freak teaming around the outside, but KP2-1 doesn't make the move stick. And Days Freak does have the overall grip, but Days Freak makes a bit of a mistake. That's allowed KP2-1 to snip on the inside, as, Days Freak goes really wide and goes onto the gravel, and that's going to allow Hoopalicious and her both off. Days Freak and Hoopalicious have hit the wall, and now they have completely lost, They've completely lost the chance of P7 right now, as I believe both have front wing damage. Looks like Days Freak does have front wing damage, so that's not gone well for the Prima driver, as he is now in last. So that's not gone well for him. Ferrari Nut stretching 2 seconds, but be aware, Port is right there. He has the DRS. He does have the slipstream. Is he gonna go for a move on the outside? Round turn 1. Deer Hunter just brakes a lot later. Deer Hunter really making it difficult for Port, but Port tries almost around the outside of turn 3, but Deer Hunter once again just covers that off quite nicely. Watch out for Neymar, though. He's going to try and go for a move on the Unai Virtuosi driver. Thinks better of it, stays behind for the time being, but by them doing this, all this battling, Ferrari Nut is just pulling a gap ever so much more. Port, though, getting a really good exit, though, out of turn 5. Now going into turn 7 and 8, as turn 6 was a little bit of a kink, if you don't know that. So far, Neymar gets a 3-second. Deer Hunter goes really wide, and that's easily allowed Port and Neymar to get past. Maybe even Taylor Clan. Is he going to go for a move on the Dams driver? Deer Hunter's going to get overtaken by 2 people, and now possibly 3. Taylor on the outside gets really, really on the curb and just doesn't quite make a move. Gets squirrely on the exit as well. But that has not helped Deer Hunter. It hasn't helped Neymar either, as he's got that 3-second time penalty now. But that's allowed Port now to catch the high-tech driver of Ferrari Nut. But he's going to have to be careful, because Neymar on the back of him. He's got the DRS. He's got the slipstream. There's no ERS, though, since these cars don't have ERS. Neymar! There's a bit of contact again! These two had a lot of contact. Port cuts the corner, does get a penalty for it. And Deer Hunter's just come up out of nowhere. He's going to try and go around the outside of turn 3. Gets really wide, though. Doesn't make... Actually, no, he does make it work. I'm sorry. He goes up into P3, catching Neymar out. So, Deer Hunter, I don't know how he managed to get all that traction, but that's helped him a lot. And now he's back up into P3 and behind the Unai Virtuosi of onside of Port. As we see Days Freak is in the pits, I believe. He was going for a front wing change as he goes on to the hard compound of tire. Neymar, though, already right on the back of Deer Hunter. Is he going to go for a move on the inside? He brakes really late compared to Deer Hunter, but just doesn't make it work. It's hard to make an overtake here as well, so it's Neymar's just gonna have to keep it easy for now. Deer Hunter goes really wide, though. That's gonna allow Neymar to get the position. No, he doesn't. Gets a really big snap, though, but just stays in P4. Taylor Klein not making the most of it as Neymar goes into the pits. Neymar now into the pits. So that's a very interesting call. Maybe he's thinking that those softs are just not working well for him. He comes into his pit box, goes on to the hard compounded tire. So he's probably going to play and try an undercut on the other drivers. We'll see how that pans out, as well. These tires are going to take a while to get warmed up, since they are, although they're really durable, they just don't exactly have the grip at the start of it. Hoopalicious gets another 3 second, or is that his first? Okay, it's his first 3 second for now. We'll see. That doesn't help him at all, as well. He still stays P6, but it's just not gone well for him, and he's almost already a pit stop behind Ferrari Nut. As we now go back over to Deer on the back of Port. Port stretching his gap over Deer Hunter and just trying to catch up to that deficit. And I believe, Port is actually already at a DRS, so there you go. That's going to allow Taylor to get up on the Dams driver. Let's see. Taylor Klein gets a decent exit. Neymar goes, Deer Hunter goes into pits, so does Port. These two trying to go for an undercut now, as these two are no doubt going to go onto the hard compounded tire. We'll see how Neymar pans out in this, because Neymar pitted early. He was going to try and go for the undercut. We'll see how that goes, as we see Neymar going around the final couple of corners. It looks like so far he's got gets a really big snap though. Where does he come out compared to the others? He's ahead of Deer Hunter, but he's behind Port. So that has worked out for him. Maybe Deer got held up by DeBees, as we see a yellow flag, and that is Days Freak getting it all wrong on the exit. But the question is now, what will the top two do? They stayed out longer. Will they now go into the pits, knowing that the other drivers behind them got into the pits, especially Ferrari Nut? So he's leading this Grand Prix. I mean, he's still leading this Grand Prix, to be fair. Coming around the final couple corners, does he box? Yes, he does. I believe he does. Yes, he does. So Ferrari Nut now into the pits. Does Taylor follow suit? No, he doesn't. Taylor Clan staying out for another lap. It's a very interesting call there, but we'll see how that works out. As we now going to go over to Port, who's the highest hard runner that hasn't pitted yet. He had quite a gap to Ferrari Nut. Has he closed that deficit? As, the KP21 getting really squirrely there. Goes into the pits, no surprise. As Ferrari Nut coming out of the box, he's way ahead of the Unite Virtuosi driver of Port. He's got quite a gap still. It's closed down to about 5 seconds. Actually, no, it's increased to 5 seconds. So maybe these hards aren't just working well compared to the softs, as Taylor is actually kind of doing. He's stretching it out wide, gets really squirrely on the exit of turn 9. We'll see how Taylor Clan responds to this. Gets a really big snap, and that's a spin. I believe that's Hoopalicious. Yes, it is. He spun on the exit of turn 5. In which I'll mention this now, Mitchie, since nothing's really happening here. Turn 5, I believe it was called seat. So I think Hoop definitely jumped out of his seat when he came out of the exit of 5. That was cheesy. We now go back over to Taylor Klein. He's boxed, as he's gonna go into his pit box. Goes on to the hards, no surprise. How does Ferrari not come out compared to these drivers? We'll wait and see. Coming around the final corner, I believe he should get ahead of Taylor Clan. He's coming down the pit lane. Ferrari Nut he has clear daylight But actually, watch out. On side of Port, he's coming down the main straight. There's Taylor. They're going to go wheel to wheel on turn 1. Taylor, but oh, actually, he goes really deep and cuts the corner. Is that going to give him a penalty? No, he manages to escape, but despite him coming out ahead of Port, he just didn't have those brakes warmed up, and now he settles into P3. I believe he's actually jumped the high-tech BRL Neymar, which is good for them. So at the time being, it's a high-tech 1-4 and a Unite Virtuosi 2-3. These two are the main contenders for the championship. So as to whether that'll help high-tech, we'll have to wait and see. See, we've got the fastest lap right now. Ferrari now has the fastest lap of the 129.4, and that'll give him 2 points. I think that'll help them in their championship against Unite Virtuosi. And as once again, like I said before, Ferrari nut, he's had to go. Oh, and Neymar is actually going to go on the inside of Taylor on turn 12. Does he get the move done? He's got the inside. Taylor's going to try and hang around the outside. Goes really deep, though. Neymar has now gone on to P3, which is helping High-Tech's championship even more. I think Taylor got really loose on the exit of 11. So that has helped Neymar, and now he's on the back of his championship rival on side of Port. Now remember, these two collided on the final couple of laps at Portimao. Is there going to be a repeat? We'll have to wait and see. Neymar has ideally like the third fastest lap right now. It's not the fastest lap though, but he's shown that he has the pace as he's going to try and pressurize Port. Port kind of struggling, I would say. You usually would see Port like dominating the Grand Prix basically, like he did in the feature race. But Port not quite having the pace compared to Ferrari nut, as the gap is kind of staying steady for the time being. And well, he's got pressure from Neymar, which is no surprise because these two are very close in the championship, and they're very close on race pace. As Neymar got the DRS, he's gaining on that Virtuosi driver, but just not quite ready enough to make a move. But the gap is going down. Neymar looking just a little bit more pacey compared to Port for the time being, but will he be able to make a move? Despite there being DRS, it's still kind of difficult to make a move here, as Neymar gets right on the curb. That doesn't help his exit out of the corner. He's got the DRS though. Will that help him? He is gaining, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough for the time being. No, it doesn't. Port takes back the racing line and stays P2 due to having a better exit than Neymar. Port getting a little bit wide though. Is that going to help Neymar actually on the exit of 3? Doesn't quite have it, but oh, Port actually went really wide, and that's a spin. That is a yellow flag. I believe that's KP21. Yes, it is. Both Tridents not having a good time. And yeah, well, it's not gone well for them. They're still P7 to P8 though. They will still get points in the feature race. But as to whether they can keep on the track, as KP21's really struggling to do so. And wait! Neymar's got past Port. Neymar is past Port. I'm not sure what happened there, but Port is now down to P3. It's a high-tech 1-2. It's the reverse of last season, as there's actually a bit of desync again. They had desync before. Neymar goes really wide though. That's going to allow Port to nib on the inside of turn 12. Gets the move done. And Port is back up into P2. Neymar spins! And so does Taylor! P3 and P4 have spun, and that's allowed Deer Hunter to now take P3 in this race. I think Neymar those tires just weren't working with him through the final sector, and has just completely spun out, and Taylor, just being really unfortunate to be in that position, was taken, I guess you could say, hostage. And once again, championship rivals are colliding, but this time instead of Neymar and Port, it's now Neymar and Taylor. So Neymar taking out all the Unite Virtuosis race by race, but it's not a full takeout as Taylor is still ahead of Neymar, and Taylor's going to try and chase after the Dams driver of Deer as we have another yellow flag, and that's KP21, and he is out of the Grand Prix. See if I can get a view of it. Oh, he spun in the exit of 9. That's not gone well for him at all. So KP21, who was running in P8, is now out of the Grand Prix. He isn't out entirely though. He's still got a shot in the sprint race, which is going to happen right after this Grand Prix is finished. But we'll just have to wait. Taylor now trying to go around the outside of Deer Hunter into turn 10. Deer Hunter covering it off. Deer's really got the defense compared to the other drivers. He's making that Dams car as wide as possible and just not letting anyone have it easy. But Taylor staying right on the back of that Dams driver. Despite that spin he had, those tires are still up to optimal temperature like he wanted. As he gets a decent exit, he's got the slipstream, he's got the DRS, he's gaining a little, as the DRS is not as powerful as F1. Actually, he's getting a lot more now. Gonna go on the outside. Now, turn 1 doesn't get the move done before the braking zone. Deer Hunter fights it back in there, going wheel to wheel. Turn 1 and turn 2. Taylor shoves Deer wide, and now is back up into the podium places. So now, High Tech is 1 and 5. Unai Virtuosi 2 and 3 still. But Neymar is gaining on these two. We'll see what he can do. He had that spin, but he can still recover. Maybe in the constructors, but in the drivers, he's still losing. He's still, well, I mean, I was gonna say losing points, but my words got a little bit jumbled up there. As Taylor gets a 3-second. Taylor Clan gets a 3-second. That's helped Deer Hunter by quite a bit now. All Deer has to do is stay within the 3 seconds of Neymar and Taylor, and he's got that P3 locked. But there's still quite a few laps left. We'll see what goes on as, well, compared to, despite everything happening behind, Ferrari Nut still controlling this Grand Prix. Now 6 seconds ahead of Port. He's keeping his calm. Hoopalicious gets a 3-second time penalty, so that's not going to help his race, as I believe that that is 3 seconds for him now. As well, he's still got quite a margin. Neymar has now got past Deer Hunter on the straight, so that was a pretty easy move. Neymar now up into P4, but he's got that 3-second. Can he be able to stretch that out to the Dams driver? We'll have to wait and see. And most importantly, can Neymar recover back up over to where Taylor is? Unsighted Port now gets a 3-second time penalty. So his chances of the win in the feature race have not gone well for him at all, as he just gets a time penalty. And well, he's already 6 seconds behind Ferrari Nut, so he's just most likely gonna stay put for now, unless something happens to Ferrari Nut. But we'll see. I think it's starting to calm down a little bit now, as I believe that was Days Freak moving out of the way to get lapped. Not having the best of races, but he's still P8. So you'll still get some decent points, and ideally we'll start. Oh, Neymar! I'm sorry. I completely missed that. Neymar has gone really deep. He's made another mistake, and that's allowed Taylor Clan and Deer Hunter to get back up ahead of Neymar. So he's just really struggling in this Grand Prix, is he, compared to the other drivers. He's just not getting the drive that he wants. That's allowed Deer Hunter back up into P4, provisionally P3 for now, but the margin between him and Taylor is quite large. So Taylor starting to stretch a gap right now. Okay, everything has started to calm down a little bit. Drivers are now evenly spread out as well. Yeah, Port still trying to chase down Ferrari Nut. It's just not coming down enough. Port's just trying his absolute hardest. He wants Ferrari Nut to make a mistake, and as of right now, that's not gone his way. 4.9 seconds between the two drivers. Ferrari, I believe, pitted later. Yes, he did. So he's got the fresher tires compared to Port. So all Ferrari has to do is just keep it calm and easy, and ideally not get many penalties, and he should be able to win this Grand Prix. Fastest lap of the Grand Prix, I believe, still belongs to him. Yes, it does, with a 1:29.4. We'll see what Port does, though. Does he try and get fastest lap? No, he doesn't, with a 1:29.5. So now, if anything, for now, it's almost like qualifying, is now everyone's just trying to get the most points as they can, maybe, to get fastest lap. One person who could do that without losing anything at the time being is Hoopalicious. And same with DeBees. These guys can pit and get a go for fastest lap if they wanted to. We'll see how that pans out in the final couple laps. Laps 16 and 19, we've got about 3.5 laps to go in this Grand Prix. It's been a little bit more exciting compared to Portimao, considering the feature race was completely washed out with rain last week. This time, the sun has come out, so it's turned out to be the opposite of what happened last week. Has everyone just keeping it easy, and that is a yellow flag. I believe that is Days Freak. Yes, it is. He's lost a chunk of his front wing. Keeps it out of the walls, though, and keeps his tires intact, but he's no doubt gonna have to pit again for a new front wing. Neymar now just trying to get back over to Deer Hunter, try and make a move on him. Ferrari now sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. I was just mentioning fastest laps earlier. Ferrari proving exactly that as he gets the fastest lap. That's 2 points for him, because in Formula 2, the fastest lap is worth 2 points. So Ferrari getting those points for high tech, trying to claw back the deficit to Uni Virtuosi as they got a huge margin. I believe it's almost like 40 points. So this will help them. P1 and P5 for the time being. Neymar, though, does have that 3-second, and DeBees is actually not too far behind that 3-second. Can he try and get in there and take P5 away from him? Days Freak goes into the pits, no doubt to change his front wing and maybe go for fastest lap. We shall see. Everything a little bit calm now, you could say. As, well, I guess one way I could technically entertain this a little bit. I've researched this a little while ago, and the corners in this game have some very interesting names, as Neymar gets a 3-second time penalty. I know it's a bit weird for me to mention all this, but you know what? Why not? It's all spread out. So the corner that Ferrari just went through now, the final corner, New Holland, go around the final corner to start the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. 5.5 seconds between him and unsighted Port. But yeah, it's so far so good. Taylor Clan now sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. First person poking into the 28s. So that's going to help Uni Virtuosi, as they now have 4 points for Port getting pole position, 2 extra points for fastest lap, and a double podium for high tech. I mean, not high tech, for Uni Virtuosi. So despite them not winning this Grand Prix, they're still doing everything to make sure that they've got this championship. And so far, it is going well for them. As well, they're just keeping it easy now as Hoopalicious pits, and he is probably going to go onto the soft compounded tire and change his front wing, actually. Deer Hunter, oh, that's not helped Deer Hunter at all. Deer Hunter, the one man who didn't have a time penalty in the top 5, now gets a time penalty, and his chances of a podium here, I guess you could say, is rather gone to ruin. He's still sitting P4, though, but he's going to have to watch out in a dying couple laps of this Grand Prix, as we now tune back to Ferrari going around the final corner as he's going to start the final lap of this feature race, the 19th and final lap of the Grand Prix. 4.7, nearly 5 seconds between him and Port, as he's just almost actually about to lap Hoopalicious, but I think Hoop is going to probably bolt away due to the fact that he's on brand new softs. He's going to try and steal fastest lap. The Bees goes into the pits. So that's an interesting call. He went into the pits on the penultimate lap, as he's going to go onto the softs most likely. Yes, he does. I don't think he'll be able to get fastest lap, though. I don't think he has the time to do that, so he hasn't really timed that well. Nonetheless, he'll still get P6 in this Grand Prix, which is still a decent effort from the Prima driver, despite his teammate DNFing in the pits. So that's still a decent amount of points for him. As Frynut now into the third sector, he's kept it calm compared to everyone else in this Grand Prix, and he's kept a cool head compared to everyone else, whereas they were all just colliding into each other. Frynut just able to pick up the pieces and just stretch a gap as he's now coming around the final couple of corners. It's a bit of a boring Grand Prix for him, but it's still a win nonetheless. Comes across the line and wins the feature race here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. Port gets P2 for Uni Virtuosi. Taylor Klein gets P3, so it's another double podium for Prima. As Deer Hunter Neymar go wheel to wheel, Neymar nearly took P5 away, but doesn't exactly get the position, as I believe he had more penalties. Oh, so close between the two drivers, but Deer Hunter takes P4, Neymar P5. The Bees coming around the final couple of corners to take a very solid P6 for him, as he had, well, I wouldn't say he's had the uneventful Grand Prix, but he's had a pretty simple one, as he gonna come across the line now. As now we wait on Hoop, who actually got really squirrely there. Waiting on Hoop, going around the final couple of, going through the final sector. He is improving on his time. Can he take fastest lap away from Taylor Clan? Taylor Clan with the 1:28.8. That's the time he's got to beat. He's got to improve by nearly 2 seconds. Can Hoop do it? Gets really squirrely on the exit, though. He's really pushing that car hard, but keeping it on the track for the time being, as he's now going to come around the final corner. Does he get the fastest lap? Gets really on the curb, really abusing track limits. Does he get it? Yes, he does. So Hoopalicious gets the fastest lap away from Uni Virtuosi. And that is P7 for him. There you have it. Ferrari Nut taking an easy win. It's his first podium in Formula 2 this season, and his first win. So what a way to get your first podium after having a consistent run of P4s. He finally gets what he wants, and it's not just P3, but it's also just the very top. Both Uni Virtuosis take the other podium places. Port ahead of Taylor. Port once again stretching his lead over Neymar and Port, as he got P2 compared to Neymar's P5. And I think, as of right now, Taylor has actually jumped Neymar in the standings, as they're now separated by 1 point. Deer Hunter gets a very solid P4 ahead of Neymar, who had a very up and down race. Dabiz gets P6. Well done to him, as he gets more points for Prima. Hoopalicious stealing the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, tying with Dabiz for points, since he got two more points for getting the fastest lap. He gets P7. Dave's Freak and KP21, the two retirees of this Grand Prix. But they will still have a shot of something in the sprint race, which is going to happen in a couple seconds' time. And much like it was in the feature race, it is sunny skies in the sprint race, but even sunnier than before, as you can see a lot of the track is very much not within the shadows, not within the sunset, as well. Needless to say, it's just a very sunny Grand Prix. It is now the sprint race. Everyone now doesn't have to pit in this Grand Prix. They can if they want to, but it's not recommended, as they're just going to take these tires to the end, try and make them last, but also try and take the win. Days Freak on provisional pole after being in P8 on the sprint race ahead of Hoopalicious, who has a front row start. Then it's the Beast ahead of Neymar. Then comes Deer Hunter. Taylor Klein on the side of Port. Double podium for them. They're now sitting P6 and P7. We'll see what they can do. Ferrari Nut, who won in the feature race, who'll now start P8. That's KP21, who didn't start in the top 8, stays P9. Everyone, no doubt, on the hard compounded tire, as it is the best race tire for this type of Grand Prix. I saw someone take out a marker board earlier, so for those that don't use line, they're already at a bit of a disadvantage. I'm not sure who did that, but it's not gone well. But yeah, I believe this is Days Freak's first pole position. It's not, he didn't set the fastest lap though, but he did start P8, so it's his first pole. I think this may be Hoop's first front row as well. DeBees, he's had a podium or two, I believe, in this series. So him starting P3, no doubt, could he try and go for another one? But he's got a lot of pressure, such as Neymar, Deer Hunter, Taylor Clan, and Unsighted Port, all trying to go for that podium and for that win as well. But they had to go through a bunch of drivers, even the likes of Ferrari Nut, who won comfortably in the feature race. He could also try and try and overtake everyone ahead of him. But he's got 7 drivers to do that if he wants to take the win. Everyone now coming up to the front stretch to line up on the grid and start the sprint race, as they are going to go through 13 laps of this I would say tricky track. It's not entirely the trickiest. And Days Freak, the first to line up on his grid spot. Gonna start on pole position. As well, the last person we will wait for, KP21, lining up in P9. Five lights are on. And it's lights out, and away we go. Decent start from the front two. Days Free getting the better of the starts compared to Hoopalicious. Neymar actually getting a really good start. So does Deer Hunter and Taylor Clan. Port once again bogging down. He's already down to P9, so it's not going well for him again. Neymar trying to already make moves. He's actually been overtaken by a couple of people, but it stays Free ahead of Deer Hunter. So Deer Hunter already making up a few positions. He's already alongside Days Freak, going wheel to wheel, and Deer Hunter has the inside. Does he make the move stick? Yes, he does. So Deer Hunter now leads the Grand Prix. Taylor, though, trying to look around the outside of Hoopalicious, and as well as Deer Hunter. Does he get the move on Hoopalicious first? They're still going wheel to wheel. Taylor on the outside, Hoop on the inside, which quickly switches to the inside for Taylor. Taylor getting a big snap, though, so does Hoop. Now Taylor has the inside again, but Hoop managing to keep around the outside. He goes really wide, though. That's going to allow Taylor to just stay with them. I believe now Taylor has the position. Yes, he does, as that's a spin behind. I believe that is Days Freak. So Days Freak already going from first to last. That has not gone well for him at all. But it's Deer Hunter ahead of Taylor Clan. Then comes Hoopalicious. Then BRL Neymar ahead of Port. Port, despite bogging down to the start, he still makes up a couple of positions. Then comes Ferrari Nut, the Beast, KP21, and then Days Freak. Neymar coming around the final corner. He's going to lead the first lap of 13 in this Grand Prix. He's got Taylor to contend with, though. Taylor is in the slipstream of the Dams driver, but I don't think he'll be close enough. No, he won't, as he does not have the DRS, as it's only activated on lap 3. Everyone so far, though, keeping it clean, and nobody has damage. So that's gone well for most people, as that is a spin, and I believe that's Ferrari Nut. Ferrari Nut spun on the exit of 2. He might have gotten on the curb or something, but that has not gone well for him at all. He keeps out of the wall, though, as we have another spin again. It's Days Freak. He spins it on the same corner as well. Days Freak not having a good Grand Prix already, as he's gone from first to last and now is way behind the other drivers. But so far, everyone keeping it calm and clean. Taylor Clan right on the back of the Dams driver of Deer Hunter. He's known to be a bit faster than Deer, but Deer does know how to defend. Taylor's going to try and go for the switchback off the exit 10. Doesn't make it work, though. Deer Hunter just keeping it calm and staying ahead of Taylor Clan for now. Hoopalish is also starting to train with Neymar and Port. And DeB is a little bit lagging behind as we have another yellow flag. I believe KP21. Yes, it is. I think he had a bit of a spin. But now, Deer Hunter leads the first 2 laps. But Neymar sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, as there's it's now a DRS train starting to form between these drivers from first all the way down to 5th. As they're just, well, they, like I said, they really want to make up these positions, and, well, if they want to do it, they're going to have to get past all these drivers. Taylor, though, one of the championship contenders this season from the looks of it. So far, the leader of the championship contenders. Days Freak gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he has unfortunately retired from the session. So Days Freak has DNF'd, and that has not gone well for him, as it's a double DNF. Taylor Clan, though, right on the back of Deer Hunter still. He's got DRS now. That's a spin! That's a spin, and that's Hoop! He's in the barrier! And he's lost a bit of his front wing as well. Neymar had to take avoiding action, and that's allowed Port to get ahead of Neymar now. The Hoopalicious, who was P3, is now fallen down to P7, and now is probably going to have to let his teammate by due to the fact that he has damage. But that is a lot, like I said, that's allowed Port to now go into P3. Was going to try and chase after the front 2. Taylor, though, he's want to get away from Port, who his teammate, his championship rival. But first he has to get past Deer. He's in the slipstream. He's got the DRS. He's going to try and go around the outside of turn 1. Deer Hunter, though, fends it off and keeps the position. Deer goes a little bit deep, though. Taylor trying to get a really good exit compared to the Dams driver. Right on the back. He's basically sliding through turn 3. Taylor Clan now going to try and go around the outside of turn 5. Or turn 4, sorry. Doesn't quite make it work, though. But he's actually got a switchback. And now he's on the outside of Deer Hunter. Deer has the inside, though. And once again, just defends it. Deer Hunter is making that Dams and absolute brick wall. Taylor tried to go on the inside of turn 7, but doesn't quite make it work. He's got the DRS, though, on the exit of 9. It may be flat to Formula 1 cars. It's definitely not flat in F2 cars. But Taylor Clan looking like he's got a good exit. Gonna try and go on the outside of turn 10. Gonna try and go for the switchback on the Dams driver. Deer just once again parking his car where he needs to and keeping P1 right now. Yellow flag, I believe that's for KP21, but he's kept it moving pretty quickly. But this is allowing Port and Neymar to get on the back of these 2 drivers. So Taylor really needs to make a move here. He, once again, has the DRS. He's got the slipstream. Is he going to go for the move? Port sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. That's how you know they're gaining. Taylor going to go on the outside of turn 1 again. He's tried this a couple times already. He's going to try it again. Doesn't make it work, though. He's now got the inside of turn 2. Deer goes deep, and Taylor takes back the lead. But Deer sticking his nose a little bit. Taylor keeping it ahead of the Dams driver, unless Deer can do something about it. He dives at the inside of turn 4. They make contact, and Deer's nearly spun it. Has he kept it moving? Yes, he has. That's going to allow Port to go on the inside. Now going to try to go around the outside of turn 5. Doesn't make it stick, though. But that's allowed Taylor to now get ahead. Port really pressurizing the Dams driver as, well, He gets a little bit wide though on the exit of 8. Is that going to allow Port to go up and go into the slipstream and take the position? He's in the slipstream still. Is he going to go for the inside? He thinks about it, but doesn't get what he wants. And now has to settle in behind Deere, as Deere's actually already lost DRS to Taylor. So Taylor's now going to stretch his lead over these drivers, try and go for another win in the sprint race. He's already had one win last week. He's going to go for another, but this time it isn't by contact between the championship rivals. It's on merit. Well, I would say it's on merit, but it was still on merit there. But Port, he's now on the back of Deer Hunter. He's got the slipstream. Deer Hunter defending the inside again. Right now, this is the fast lap of the Grand Prix as they bang wheels on the exit, like before turn 1. Port though, again having the inside, shoving Deer a bit deep. Deer gets a 3-second time penalty. They're still banging wheels. Port gets shoved wide, and Neymar has suddenly gone the inside of Port. Is he gonna go for the inside of Deer Hunter as well? He thinks about it, but Neymar not quite making a stick. Deer goes a little bit deep though. Once again, that's gonna allow Neymar to try and go around the outside of turn 5. Deer's really good at defending at this corner though, and Neymar just doesn't make the move stick, but he's got the traction compared to the Dams driver. He's gonna go on the inside of turn 7. I think he does. No, he doesn't. He stays behind for the time being. Deer got a 3-second time penalty though with him battling, and Neymar's actually got loose. That's allowed Port to get ahead, and as they get squeezed. The two championship rivals have collided again! And once again, like it was in Portimao, Port and Neymar colliding in the sprint race. Neymar getting the worst of the two. It's a repeat of what it was last week. But this time, Neymar has damage. Is that going to go to the stewards? We'll have to wait and see, but that has not gone well. I think Port has damage as well. Yes, he does. Both Port and Neymar have damage. Neymar undoubtedly going into the pits to change his front wing. That contact was very severe on the exit of 9. Those two just getting caught up on each other again. Oh, wow. High drama between these two. Ferrari Nut now past the Bs up into P4. Despite him having a spin earlier, he's back up into the top 4 again. So this has still gone well for his championship hopes. He could be a contender for this as well. Could he possibly get a podium? We'll have to see. But, man, if you told me that Port and Neymar were going to collide again, I would have believed you. And, well, it happened. Neymar goes on to the hards again as he is now running down in P7. Yellow flag, that is for Hoopalicious. He spun on the exit of 8. Is on the gravel now. He's gonna get back onto the track. Those hards just not working well for him. As we're now at the halfway point of this Grand Prix. Taylor Clan ahead of Deer Hunter. These two keeping the top 2 spots. But the real question is as to who will get P3 after this race. So far, as of right now, it's Port, but Ferrari Nut really gaining on that Unite Virtuosi driver. Sets a purple sector 3, so that's how you know that he is pushing. Port does have that damage, and that's just hampering his speed, hampering his traction, and that's allowing the high tech to get ever so much closer to him. Port might try and defend this though, but sooner or later it'll have to come to a close. KP21 gives a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help his race. But yeah, Ferrari Nut looking for 2 podiums in one weekend. Port having another collision with Neymar. It just hasn't gone well. Neymar goes into the pits. Those hards not entirely looking the best, so he's probably going to go for fastest lap, try and get a couple of points, but that's going to allow KP21 to get back ahead of him. Does he go on to the soft compounded tire? No, he doesn't. As we have a spin. Is that? Yes, it is. That is KP21 getting it all wrong on the exit. Neymar gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I'm a little bit drowned out at the moment, considering what has gone on. Taylor Clan sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 29.1. And Ferrari now on the back of onside of Port. He's got the slipstream. He has the DRS. Is he going to go around the outside of turn 1? Port covers it off, though. Doesn't go deep, unlike other drivers. Stays P3 for the time being, so it's another double podium for him as of now. Or really actually covering off Ferrari Nut. Ferrari Nut going to try and go around the outside of turn 4. He's got the better traction compared to the Unai Virtuosi. Does he get the move? He's going to go diving on the inside of turn 5. They make contact, and Ferrari Nut nearly spins out, but keeps it alongside Port. He's now going to have the inside turn 7. They make more contact. Port really just having fun with these high-tech drivers. Port goes wide, though, and that's allowed Ferrari Nut to go back up into the podium places. So because of Port's damage, that's allowed Ferrari Nut to get back up to the podium. And the Bees goes really deep. He nearly hits the back of unsighted Port, but keeps it out of the gearbox of him and stays P5, but is probably going to try and make a move. Port just losing a lot of time due to that front wing damage, as we have another as well. This is one of the closest battles for now, aside from Neymar and KB21 fighting for 7th. The Bees now has the DRS on Port. Got the slipstream. Port didn't get DRS. Does he go on the inside of turn 1? Yes, he does. And I think they almost made a little bit of contact. The Bees having to try and go on the inside. Port covers it off. Stays P4. As I saw a yellow flag before, I believe that was Neymar. Neymar just having not a good time on those hards. For the time being, gets really squarely there, and that's just proving my point ever so much more. The Bees really pressurizing Port, and he's just losing so much time due to that front wing. And well, yeah, it's just not gone his way. Port, despite setting pole position, he's got a podium in the feature race, but now he's probably going to lose P4 as the Bees still on the back of him. Neymar gets a 3-second time penalty. That's going to hamper his race. Ferrari Nut's actually gaining a little bit on Deer Hunter, so maybe we can see a position swap because Deer Hunter does have that 3-second. Let's have a look at time penalties. Confirmation, Deer Hunter with the 3-second. And that is another spin. I believe that is Neymar. Yes, it is. Goes onto the curb. And, well, as now Neymar is on the inside of Port, literally. As these two, these were the two that collided. So, yeah, Neymar probably not having good feelings about it as he is now lapped by inside of Port. Unless he tries to unlap himself, which he is allowed to do, given he is the faster car. He's staying on the inside of him right now, due to the fact that he is ghosted and lapped. But, yeah. I can probably say that these two do not have the best of feelings, and Neymar's crashed! Neymar crashes on the exit of 4, loses his front wing, keeps it on the track, though. But his race has just gone from bad to worse, no doubt about that. As DeBees has actually lost a little bit of ground to the UNI Virtuosi driver. Still going to try and claw that back. But yeah, Neymar and Port colliding once again. That is the big headline in this Grand Prix. As these two collided before, they have collided again. And look who's benefited the most out of all those collisions. And not only Ferrari Nut, but also Taylor Clan sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix again. And he's building his gap ever so much more. Taylor Clan led the final 1.5 laps of the Grand Prix in Portimao. Guess you could say he's led almost every single lap of this Grand Prix, as he's now on the penultimate lap. He's kept in calm head compared to the other drivers, much like Ferrari did in the feature race. So he's, guess you could say he's taking notes of that, and well, it's paid off. Upalicious goes into the pits, as he is probably gonna go and steal the fastest lap. He comes into his pit box, gonna get a change of a front wing, I believe, as well. But yeah, that I think he will still stay P6 for now. Ferrari Nut gaining a little bit on Deer Hunter. It's not quite enough though, but as long as he can get within that 3-second, that will be what he wants, as it will be a double podium as it stands. DeBees on the back again of Port. He's gonna want P5. Gets really squirrely there though, compared to the championship leader. But DeBees, just because of the fact that Port doesn't have that front wing, like that end plate. Oh, and Ferrari Nuts got a 3-second time penalty. So that has ended Ferrari Nuts' chances of a possible P2. Taylor Clan, though, he's the only one in the top 3 to not have a penalty. He's on the final lap of this Grand Prix, and all he has to do is just take the car home. He does have the fastest laps, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But yeah, Taylor Clan, he's been a little bit lackluster compared to these other drivers. Needless to say, though, he has not been lackluster to the others this time around, as he has been he got on the podium in the feature race. He got rather squirrely there on the exit of turn 8, though, but doesn't hit the wall. He's coming around to get into the third sector, weaving a little bit. He's a little bit excited considering what happened, as we saw someone go wide. I think that was KP21. Yes, it is. Keeps it out of the wall. So KP21 just not having the traction compared to the others. The Bees, though, gonna go on the inside of unsighted Port, as they make contact again. These two drivers are going for P4, but Port gets ahead of the Bees for the time being, as we now go back over to Taylor, as he comes around the final corner, and he's gonna win the sprint race here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Deer Hunter gets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, gets P2. Then it's Ferrari Nut getting a double podium in this Grand Prix. Unsighted Port gets P4, just ahead of the Bees. And well, despite Port getting P4, I bet he's thinking about what has happened here today. Collision last week. He collided this week with this man, BRL Neymar, who's lost his front wing again. And, well, this race has just not gone his way, as he's coming to the final sector. Hoopalicious, purple sector 2. He's no doubt going to steal another fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Still sitting in P6, so still some decent points for him. We're going to stay on board with him for a bit, as Neymar is right there. He's really hitting the curves. Hoopalicious coming around the final couple of corners. Gets really squirrely on the exit. The penultimate corner, though, keeps it easy, and is no doubt going to cross the line. Take fastest lap. Yes, he does. And BRL Neymar gets P8. Ferrari Nut getting driver of the day in this Grand Prix. No surprise, his drive from P8 to P3. Well done to him, and well done to Taylor, getting another sprint race win under his belt. And congratulations to Deer Hunter. I believe this is his first podium in Tier 2. I mean, not Tier 2. Formula 2. And, well, he did it rather convincingly, putting up a great defense and then just keeping it easy. But there is the final positions. Taylor Clan winning this winning the Grand Prix ahead of Deer Hunter. Then comes Ferrari Nut and then unsighted Port getting P4. And well, I'm a little bit flabbergasted by what's happened tonight, as I shall now invite these drivers to the party as the podium finishers of the sprint race and the feature race. We'll see if they join, but that'll do it. Ferrari not getting the highest points haul out of all the drivers, 35 points. Then it's the two Unite Virtuosi drivers once again tied with 30 points. All these drivers getting a good haul of points. Yeah, it's been a wild one. I'm still waiting for the other drivers to come on and get their interviews done. I'm not entirely sure if these drivers are gonna come over to the interview booth tonight, which is rather unfortunate, I would say. I'm not entirely sure. We'll wait a little bit. I'm just receiving info that I think the party invites aren't working, which may be a little bit strange. I'll make my party open. Maybe that'll work. I'm not entirely sure. Sorry for this, folks, but you know, it's just a little bit of a patient game for the time being. I think we will have someone coming in. I am not 100% sure. Well, I don't think for now. Unfortunately, I do not believe that we will get any interviews tonight, which is very unfortunate. So I will just recap what has happened in the last hour, you could say. Port had pole position. Well, yeah, we'll start off with Port. He had pole position. Bogged at the start twice, both in the sprint and the feature. Got a podium in the feature race, but in the sprint race, had another collision with Neymar. He got P4 though, but whether that'll go down to the stewards, we'll see. But it's not entirely gone the way he wanted. Taylor Clan, I believe he started at the back, made his way up the order. We'll go over to, yeah, he started at the back, got 2 podiums in a row, and well, P1 and I believe P3 for his championship. He's still tied on points though with Port in terms of how many points they got through the weekend. So he hasn't really gained ground. He hasn't entirely lost ground either. We will go over, however, to really the biggest gainer out of everyone, which was Ferrari Nut. He got the win in the feature race rather convincingly, keeping it calm and easy. Then in the sprint race, he went from P8, had a spin, came back up to P3, getting the biggest haul of points. So he has decreased the lead from him to the championship leaders. But we must go on to really the talk of the day. The collision between Port and Neymar. As to who is at fault, I'm not entirely sure, but all I can say is that these two, once again, just colliding into each other in the Grand Prix, ideally in the sprint race. And, well, as to whether we'll get more of that, I'll have to see next week. But be sure to tune in tomorrow, however, 8 p.m. EST, where we shall see the realistic tier, where a bunch of drivers in the realistic cars of F1 2021 will, well, just go for the win or podium or some decent points in Spain. And then you've also got Tier 3 and Tier 4, 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. EST, and the same times for Tier 1 and 2 on Saturdays, so be sure to tune in to that. But that is it for me today, and, well, we'll see you all tomorrow. But for now, have a good rest of your day, or night, or even good night, depending on where you are.